Paul Davis Restoration, and this is fire restoration video number, I don't know, 9 or 10. So anyway, the contractor is still upsetting my sister, and my sister is, excuse me, upsetting my brother. My sister lives in Florida usually. This project is on Ormond Beach, Florida. She's in Maine, and the brother that I'm speaking of is in California. He's an architect. And I have two more brothers in Florida and another sister in Florida. Well, this house burned July 22nd. Ours was just some fire damage in the attic next to the firewall, and then complete smoke damage throughout the unit, townhouse. So August, September, October, November, 4 months, we're putting household contents in storage, gutting the house, all the drywall, all the insulation, all of the electrical wiring, all of the air conditioning, and the tubs, toilets, vanities, sinks, all the cabinets. And then soda blasting is how they kind of clean the soot off of all of the wood in the attic mostly, and then on the framing where needed, in the walls. And then they do sealing, S-E-A-L. Kind of looks like white paint over all the wood in the attic and basically all the studs in the house. And so then you're kind of ready for new construction. Now, the permit comes beginning of December. You have to have an engineer do basically a full set of blueprints. Even though there was only two structural elements, the firewall, block firewall, heat damage at the top, and not up to code, because it was built in 1980 when it was up to code, and now it needs more reinforcing rebar and concrete right down to the floor. So they took the wall down to about 8-9 foot level, dropped bars in every 4 foot vertical, and cut holes down the floor, tied them up, or epoxied them into the concrete. And then poured those cells in probably a horizontal U-blocks at the 8-9 foot level, whatever it was. And then the next lift a block, second story wall, and then pour those, and then the wall going up the rake to the underside of the roofing deck. And then they formed actually the tie beam on the top of that wall and cast that concrete. Then there was probably three trusses that were removed, and the decking above them, of course, and built by hand. And then new decking installed on top of those. And then roofing, fabric, and shingles. Well, my point being that from the time they got the permit, it was a 2-month job, regular run construction. Casual, 3 month. So here we are, let me see, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, half of June, 6.5 months. So we're probably looking at between 7 and 8 months all told. So it begs the question, how do you go from a 2 to 3 month job to a 7 to an 8 month job? just from the building permit, because there's 4 months before that, so you're looking at 11 to 12 months total time. Now, it's very strange. It was kind of like that roofing. Why are they using a roofer from Orlando? And then the difficulty that seemed to cause. And now it's like, how can a 3 month job, 2 to 3 months, turn into a 7 to 8 month job? It's very strange. Couple things. One, I guess they know they're getting, the insurance company's providing a year's worth of rent, not only for the stuff in storage, but for me, or my mother's house. It burned down July 22nd. She died November the 10th, and we buried her the day before Thanksgiving. And so then the Thanksgiving weekend without her, and then the building permit came a few days later. So where was I? Yeah, so they get a year's, they know the insurance company's gonna provide a year to keep stuff in storage and a year's worth of rent. They almost cut me off on the rent, but they said, were you staying with her when, yes, I was staying with her when the fire happened, and et cetera, et cetera. And so they continued that money. Good. Now, so I'm thinking, I have a feeling that right away, Paul Davis, my theory, it's my opinion, Paul Davis Restoration uses that 1 year mark as the time. They figure that's the time, that's the free time they have. And on top of that, they have the project management and on-site supervision spread just as thin as it can possibly be. They have one, so far as it appears to me, one project manager and one superintendent for everything they got going. So you're paying cost plus 20%, right? And you would think that that would get you a fully attentive contractor. But not only is it not done in 2 months, which is efficient. It's not done in 3 months, which you could say we're casual, but we pay attention to what we're doing. And it's not done in 4, 5, 6. Going to be about 7 to 8, 7.5 to 8. So I'm thinking, how? And it doesn't serve the client. I mean, it's kind of assuming that the client, is off in the south of France and whatever, and that's not the case. Not the case for me. I do have other things to do. I've always had other things to do, and I do them. I keep them going, but this is, to say the least, a total distraction for me. So anyway, that's more on Paul Davis Restoration of Volusia. When you go on their website and it makes it look like, well, you're fully fed. But when you go through it, you get about a milliliter of margarine spread over an acre of rice cake. And they want to call that a feast. And I'm like, like nothing I've ever seen before. So anyway, like I say, they upset my sister, and they upset me first, and then they upset my sister, and then my sister upset my brother, and on it goes, and not getting any positive feedback from them. So hence more processing via video. My thoughts. Thank you.